Well, that is not good. Hello and welcome back to the boat shed. We're working up on the decks again today. Let's go take a look. In the last video, we were taking a look at some of the chain plates on this boat, and we actually managed to pull one out, which was pretty interesting. It was an encapsulated chain plate, and that got a lot of interest from people, especially concerned about bulldozing the interior of the boat. In fact, some of that teak is right here. Now, if you haven't seen that video yet, you should definitely check that out. But for now, let's keep going with this one. So if you're new here, my name is John, and this boat here is Antidote. And she's a 1989 Liberty 458. We're doing a pretty big restoration here on this boat on the driveway. Now, I'm not a pro boat builder. I'm an engineer and a sailor with the dream to fix up this boat and go sailing around the world someday. But we have a lot of work to do first. Now, one of the first things here to get back onto, because I'd really love to finish getting these bulwarks completely hollowed out. You might remember there's a lot of old plywood in these, and so we've been removing that. Now, between the last time we were working on that, I have hollowed out another large section here, so we'll quickly time-lapse that for you now. So all that's left to do here is this aft section. There's just a little bit left, maybe 6 or 7 feet or so. So we're gonna start with that today. Now, I have been working from the side of the boat for most of the area. You see my little walkway here is gonna be in the way. That's just an unfortunate way that I built this shed. And it does technically move out of the way, although I think that's going to be more trouble than it's worth. I might just work at it here from the top. So these little dock boxes now are kind of in the way, and I think this is their solution, since this boat doesn't really have a very good like lazarette storage up here near the cockpit. And they added these. They're not original to the deck mold. As you can see, they've kind of been screwed in, and they have a little flange, and all of that was covered by teak. Other than the obvious screws, I'm not sure how these are attached. I kind of assume there's some sort of adhesive possibly under there. Maybe the same stuff they used to put the teak down with, this sort of black rubbery stuff. But potentially fiberglass resin. I hope it's not fiberglassed down, but I don't know. Let's get the screws off, see where we get from there. Hopefully we can get these removed. Now, it looks like I've forgotten to empty these. So first thing first, let's get them emptied out. Well, this is fun. It's sort of how I imagine when you buy like a storage locker and you have no idea what you're getting. So I haven't actually been through this, strangely, since I've had the boat, but a lot of this is just kind of garbage and will probably end up, unfortunately, in the landfill. But I did find some cool things, like this old Baja filter here. This aluminum canister has some filters inside, and it's supposed to be really good for removing debris and also water from fuel that you get abroad, diesel fuel. And I don't think they make these anymore, so it's cool to have that. This one looks like it needs a bit of a cleanup. And then this water filter contraption appears to be, perhaps you put that in line with your fill hose, is the idea, so you can kind of pre-filter the water you're adding to your tanks when you're getting water from an unknown source. And yeah, it's just some odds and ends, some dive weights, some things like of this and that nature. Now, the other side was mostly just lines of varying quality, age, and degradation. So we'll go through those later, but these are now empty and we're ready to start seeing if we can get them pulled off. With this all emptied out, you can see on the port side box here, the pucks, the core material actually coming through the bottom, and I believe that is actually the box and not the deck, because it does seem like it's higher. Probably hard to get that on camera. Again, I have no idea how this was put together, but we'll probably find out. Let's take a second to thank some of the new Patreon and YouTube members that help keep this channel floating along. And if you're interested in some extra updates and ad-free videos, you can check out the Patreon link below or hit that join button. Now, the folks whose names are appearing on the screen go the extra mile to keep this channel working, and I couldn't do it without you. Thank you all so much. Now, back to the video. Okay, that might have been a little optimistic or ambitious, but let's see if we can tuck a little knife under there maybe. If it's cutting, then it's probably just a sealant. If it's not going in, then it's probably fiberglass resin. In which case we probably have to cut it off with the deck skin, but let's cross one bridge at a time. Most of the way along here so far, it seems like there's sort of a hard stop and the knife can only go in maybe like 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. It seems to be working pretty well until, yeah, I guess the handle just sort of came right off. Maybe we can fix this. It's probably not even worth my time. I think we have to go to the hardware store to grab a new one. It's unfortunate, I was really liking that one, but we'll keep going with this. It seems like it's gonna work. We'll see. I think we'll be able to pry this off. Hopefully it won't take too long. For you guys, it's only gonna take a couple of seconds, so hang in there. Now, while I wait to get another putty knife back into action, I know some of you in the past have recommended using an oscillating blade scraper for different things. And I have a little one somewhere, I can't find it. So I actually just sort of cooked one up here quickly, an older blade that's sort of seen its better days. I just put it on the bench grinder for a little bit and put a bit of a profile on it. So we'll see if this works, give this a shot, keep applying the heat, and hopefully we can get this thing pried up. Back now, it's the following day, and I was able to get this thing repaired. We put a little bit of epoxy down inside here, jammed it back together, let it sit, and it seems to be holding together for now. And we'll keep going with that. I have also, in the meantime, gotten some other options. This was at the dollar store for like $3, so I got that as a backup. We'll see how long that lasts for. And this one is a stiff, sort of a thicker blade with a chisel edge. And this one I bent so it would kind of slide under a little easier without hitting the handle here. Now this has been slow going, and I think because it's such a large surface area, if it is glued down with some sort of like polysulfide or polyurethane adhesive, it's gonna take a while to break it free, but I think once it starts to go, it's gonna really go. And I'm using my Marine Formulas debond stuff, spraying that around the edges just to try to help promote breaking down these bonds. We'll give it a while here with the kind of the full manual approach, but I think I have an idea for a little more horsepower to hopefully help lift this thing up, literally. Well, this is definitely slow going. I have one corner kind of started, but it is slow. It's harder than it probably looks. And so we are gonna try to amp up the horsepower here. We'll get a jack involved. I think I can just reach under this little lip here. I do wanna be careful not to break it. So we'll be gentle. We'll see how this goes. Okay, we decided it's time for some bigger guns here. So we've rigged up this sort of contraption to try to lift it up, essentially, so we can apply some upward force hopefully on it here and start getting enough underneath it to start cutting away the adhesive. That's the goal. So on the back we have a little post there. Idea being that the force, when I apply it here to the front with a bottle jack, it'll start pulling the whole piece up. We'll give it a little try here, see how it works. You guys are experiencing this in real time. That seems to be working, but I'm not sure how this is put together. It's really strange. As I'm lifting it up, I am seeing the floor inside start to kind of move and flex. So I'm thinking that this is like a rim that was put down, screwed down to the boat. Then they added another section of wood pucks to the existing deck and then glassed over that. I think that's what they've done. So they've like doubled up the thickness of the floor here. You know, you're putting heavy things back here. It seems to maybe make sense to me. But as I'm trying to separate it, I think there is some varied materials happening here. But I think what I can do maybe is cut along the rim on the inside, cut the top layer of glass out, and then perhaps we'll leave the whole internal floor section behind, because I am hearing some cracking and breaking and a lot of stress as I'm pulling it up. But I don't want to destroy this piece. So I think cutting the floor, getting the rest out is the easiest way to go. So let's try that out and see how it does. Glass didn't put up too much of a fight there, so we've got the perimeter cut. And now let's get back to trying to pry it up and see if we can break these two apart. Well, it seems like most things, once I know what I'm doing and how it's put together, it's not that bad to get it apart. So this box is just an exterior skin, and the outturned flange is just set there to locate it, and then they did build a floor into it after the fact. Because we can see here, this floor and the wood pucks are just adhered on top of the existing deck. So that's interesting. So now with the second one, let's just see if I can get it out. I've got about an hour and a half of daylight left. Let's see if we can get that thing out of here. Cue the music. And stop the clock right there. That's about 1 hour in real time to get that part pulled up. Came up in good shape, and it is very difficult just to get started, but once you sort of get it just cracked open a little bit, then it goes quite a lot faster. Yeah, that was fun. Now I think I'm going to clean up in here a little bit, and we'll get started again tomorrow. But don't go anywhere. Well, it sure is nice to have all this extra room here for activities.
So many activities! It's making my head spin how many activities we can do.
And I was thinking about leaving those pads where they are, but then I started wondering if maybe they're a bit of a tripping hazard. So it is a long way down, so I think we're gonna buzz those off. Now for this, once again, we turn to the trusty demo hammer drill. One side clear, and now that one was a little less water saturated. The other side seems to be rotten, so I think it's gonna peel up like butter. Let's see though. We're not supposed to say things like that. Now it's gonna be very difficult, I'm sure. Hey, check this out. As I'm working here, I find this piece has some writing on the back. Looks like someone was using it to take some measurements. I think it's kind of neat. That survived inside this little piece of this box for 37 years. Yeah, it's kind of neat. Anyway, let's keep going. Oh, and this side is not easier than the other side. There is a rotten corner, but most of it is just like the other side, in pretty good shape. With those tripping hazards removed, the aft deck is now looking nice and clean. And I think this is the perfect time to ask you to, if you wouldn't mind, please hit that like button down below. It really does help move this channel along. Thank you so much. So now we turn our attention to the last 8 feet or so of the bulwark here that is still full of rotten plywood, water saturated plywood. And now I've already covered both sides all the way to the back here, over 90 feet total that I've cleaned out with chainsaws and burr bits and drills, and there's tons of videos that you can watch of me doing that if you are so inclined. And it's like cleaning the floor with a toothbrush, but we are right at the very end here, so let's get going one last time. I can't wait to celebrate being done with this. I might even ask you to hit that like button one more time when we're done. We'll see, but let's get going. Well, we're about 1 foot into this last leg of the journey, and I see something interesting here. We have a hollow section in the middle between these 2 sheets of plywood, which we haven't seen before. So over here we have sort of a big wedge of solid resin slurry that was poured in, and here there's nothing. So that's interesting. We'll, as we hollow this out, take the plywood out, it'll be interesting to see what the bottom looks like. If there's a wrap of glass on the bottom side, there hopefully is. But yeah, kind of interesting. So we'll keep going here. Well, I wonder what else we might find before this is all over. Well, Houston, we have a problem. I know, again, right? So I have been able to clear out the inboard side here, and it goes down the same depth as the rest of the deck that I've been working on. So that is great and expected. So all cleaned up there, ready to go. Now on the outboard side, the side on the hull, it looks like it just goes down and just keeps on going. And you can see here, I've actually hit a screw, and this is to hold on one of these trim teak pieces. And, well, let me show you something here. So unfortunately, it looks like we are experiencing a saturated core that just keeps going all the way down the whole transom. This makes me wonder if the entire transom is a cord construction. It's because on the side of the hull, we do experience that the upper bulwarks was wet, but is now dry, and as I go down the hull, it's dry. So that's going to leave me now with a choice to either just recore the bulwarks and leave the transom kind of wet, or find a way to replace the core of the transom as well. Let's head inside the boat here and see what that's all going to mean. So as we head on back, it's this back wall now that we wonder about possibly getting into. So what would this involve? So much like the demolition that we did in the previous video up forward, we'd probably be looking at some similar work here, taking some of this trim down. These window trim rings would probably need to come out. Well, they definitely would. This piece here, and then we get back to some more of this really nice paneling, which I guess is called sealing. So whoever it is that's responsible for naming boat parts, we need to have a chat. That is a weird name for something that goes on the side of a boat. Anyway, enough about that. So can we get this taken off, replace this core? Probably. Is it worth it? I'm not sure. Will I do it anyways? I think the answer again is probably. But you'll have to keep on watching to find out for sure. This plywood's in pretty rough shape. Not that that necessarily means it needs to be replaced. The biggest question is, how much of this work can we do without really destroying things? Some people have commented, you know, if you're not comfortable destroying the interior of your boat, maybe you don't belong having a boat anyways. I think that's a little extreme, but you know, I think we will be able to preserve the boat. My goal here is to honor the original aesthetics of the boat as much as possible, rebuilding where I can, restoring where I can. I don't really want to just tear it all out and rebuild it with, you know, white melamine, even though that might be faster. The goal here is to restore this boat and bring it back to what it once was. So yeah, I see here some complicated things, but this might be something that we're getting into in the future. Leaving the exterior fiberglass alone will allow me to keep the shape properly. So I will do this from the inside instead of what I'm doing on the decks, which is, you know, going and taking the outside fiberglass off. This area, I definitely don't want to do that. I think this is pretty accessible. That might be the reason why I'm thinking that. So anyway, it wouldn't be another boat video if we didn't find a new problem. Okay, well, that discovery puts a wrench in things. Not good. Well, I had planned to end this video with the bulwarks successfully emptied out, victory music playing, and maybe asking for that like button one more time. Now, I don't feel like I've earned that, unfortunately, because this discovery means that we're going to probably have to end this video before all of that happens, and that's no fun. I am going to be checking out the Seattle Boat Show tomorrow, and I need to get this video wrapped up so that we can get it out to all of you folks out there. Do let me know in the comments what you think about this whole situation with our transom. I'd be very curious to hear what you think down below there. Come on back though for another episode when we'll be figuring out what we're gonna do with all this, and we will get this bulwark emptied out and restored if it's the last thing that we do. So if you're new to the channel and would like to get caught up from the very beginning of the refit, you can check out this playlist right here. And if you want to subscribe for more, we'll put a button over here. See y'all next time.
Hey, I never asked you. Yeah. You like guacamole?